I'm not hiring at this time, but I'd be happy to look at your resume.
No, we're not really hiring. Do you have a resume you can leave with me now?
Unemployment's hitting hard, and it's hitting the people who least expect it. New Yorkers are angry and demanding to know, why are we in this mess? And what are New York's labor leaders doing about it? On the next edition of Broadcast New York, the voice of the Empire State. They're out of work, and they're angry about it. New York's unemployment crisis this week on Broadcast New York, the voice of the Empire State. I'm Beth Tornator, and this is Broadcast New York, the voice of the Empire State. On this week's program, new faces on New York's hunting scene.
Carhart, on the line.
12-year-olds with guns, and it's all New York State's idea. Outraged critics charge New York is making it too easy for kids to pull the trigger.
I'm in 7th grade right now, and it's a lot. This is really easy.
Adolescents now legally armed, but are they armed and dangerous? That's our lead story this week.
Josh was the baby, Paul's the middle one, and William is the big one.
Then imagine having a family to feed and getting the pink slip at work, laid off. One agency is pushing for more jobs in New York, and its future is in your hands.
They're using it in sorority houses, and they're using it in bar rooms.
And Ed Vigent is capitalizing on New York's nostalgia for neon. He's grown a bright idea into a million-plus business. These stories, plus Michael O'Reilly on doctors with AIDS, all in the half hour ahead.
The Lawrence Group family of insurance companies is committed to you, your communities, and the preservation of your future. We're here to help.
Up front today, it's one of the year's most controversial laws, and it has gun control advocates reeling. It's about 12-year-olds and guns. When they're out in the woods hunting, will they be thinking of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rambo, or will they be more responsible than that? Producer Caroline Summers takes us inside an explosive issue.
Oh. Deer hunting season in New York State just opened last week. But there's something different about these hunters in the woods outside the Pawampakunk Fish and Game Club in Johnsonville, New York.
Yeah, today was the first day I ever shot a 20 gauge.
What's it feel like?
A 22 times about 100.
These trainees are children.
You have to set the point of the bullet into the chamber.
Yeah.
Now you can close it.
Where's the safety on this? Up on top.
The tail end of a 4-day, 10-hour hunter safety course, required by New York state law for anyone who wants a hunting license. That's what 6th grader Lee Garhart is after. Today is test day, and he's nervous.
I've been practicing on my own BB guns.
On July 19th, the governor signed a new law that lowers the minimum hunting age from 14 to 12. We're the last state in the union to do it. The governor is confident it won't increase hunting accidents.
All right, we got some shooters here.
But others say the decision could be fatal. Fearing the worst, trigger-happy preteens, babes in the woods.
If I was to fire this,
Phil Colarusso doesn't feel that way.
I would lose a hand, no doubt, because your hand is on the forearm, You're going to follow, okay? Bang. There goes your hand. There goes your face.
Colarusso's been teaching hunter safety for 24 years. Hunters can't get a license without taking this course and passing a written test. But just how tough is that test? And are these children ready to take it? Colarusso says a harsh dose of reality makes them ready.
The first thing I say to them, the fantasy is over. Because now they are putting their toys aside from cops and robbers and playing cowboys and Indians. Now they are using the real equipment. And there's no time to say, I'm sorry, I shot someone. Any questions on safety? Let's take the fantasy away from it. Let's take the curiosity away from it and let them try the equipment, let them use the equipment.
For the same reason that you do not let a 12-year-old vote or drive a car, basically having to do with lack of mature judgment, that same reasoning should carry over to the fact that they should not be allowed to carry loaded weapons.
Holly Cheever works with animals and kids, and she thinks arming kids is a bad idea.
There you go, sweetheart. Come on.
In fact, Cheever, a veterinarian, thinks it's such a bad idea she lobbied against it. The crushing defeat bothered her at every level, as a lobbyist, a parent, and as a landowner. She and her husband moved onto this 80-acre farm outside of Albany in 1983. The first thing neighbors did was ask to hunt on the land.
And we were not fools. We did not want to alienate the communities, but so we said very politely and respectfully, we appreciate that this land looks like a real gem to you, but please understand we have children, we have livestock, and we feel very strongly as environmentalists that we want our land to be a protected area. So I'm sorry to deny you, but we do not wish you to train dogs or hunt.
But one January night, on her way out to feed the animals, Cheever stumbled onto something ugly in a scene right out of The Godfather.
As I went into the barn doorway, I tripped and fell flat on my stomach, tripped over something, flicked on the light, and what I saw was that someone had killed a deer, cut off its head, and stuck it in the doorway as your basic hostile gesture.
We're going to give you 4, okay? We're going to be shooting at.
Hunters are quick to point out, it isn't as if New York State is just putting loaded weapons into the hands of children. There are built-in protections. Kids must be supervised by an adult when hunting. And then there are the mandatory classes.
Training helps a little bit in terms of just knowing what to do when, perhaps, but we're still talking about accidents that happen to a very excitable young group of adolescents who have all kinds of explosive reactions. That comes with the turf of being 12.
I don't think that, that you can use gross generalizations for any group, any age group.
Late Thursday night at the local gun shop, Bill Radigan, president of the Pewampatuck Fish and Game Club, is out to buy bullets.
You got them out back?
There may be some out there.
Radigan thinks animal rights activists need a good dose of reality. Says they make the mistake of giving human qualities, like feelings, to animals.
They still believe that Bambi's real. Bambi's a cartoon. Bambi was never alive, and deer don't speak.
Radigan is all too aware of the risk factor. Every time he walks out the door to go hunting, he knows there's a chance he could get shot. But he doesn't think young hunters will make it any more dangerous.
There's going to be situations where accidents happen. They have always happened. New York State, I think, has a pretty darn good record as far as firearm safety is concerned. Money. Yeah, bottom line is money, revenue. New York State is strapped right now. Anything that's going to bring in revenue, obviously, is going to be good.
You heard it right. The new law isn't about the rights of children or about reducing the herd. Critics say they're certain. 12-year-olds armed with double-barreled shotguns serve only one purpose: to sell more $31 hunting licenses in New York State. Back at the Fish and Game Club, Lee Garhart gets his test results. Yes! He passes. And in the words of the newly licensed hunters, the test was no sweat.
I'm in 7th grade right now, and this is really easy, because after taking the course for a week, I know everything.
You really didn't have to read the book to take it. It's pretty much common sense.
Garhart. On the line.
12-year-olds with guns, children. For some, it's a disturbing image. For others, it's perfectly natural, a constitutional right. Is New York State making a fatal mistake? We'll know in time. But for now, hunting families are happy they'll have a chance to spend time together in the great outdoors.
Basically, I think that that this is good because it does give the children a chance to be with their parents in the field. And I think that's good for the family.
To which I say, well, that's peachy. We go out and do special bonding in the woods also, but it does not involve the loss of life in the meantime.
We should point out 12-year-olds are only allowed to hunt small game. That does not include deer. What do you think of Governor Cuomo's decision to allow 12-year-olds to hunt? With the proper training and supervision, do you think they're ready, or are they too young to handle hunting? Phone our audience access line at 1-800-766-NYTV. We'll let you know what New York thinks next week. Unemployed New Yorkers back on the job. Find out how that affects you when Broadcast New York continues.
Fitness, endurance, commitment, and strength. Hallmarks of competitive spirit. The Lawrence Group of Insurance Companies applauds the world-class enthusiasm of athletes and their dedication to their goals. The Lawrence Group, experienced insurance professionals, providing you innovative solutions for all your personal and commercial insurance protection needs. The Lawrence Group, responsive, reliable, dedicated to excellence and service in offices coast to coast.
From Niagara Falls to Radio City Music Hall, you be the judge. Vote for and win the best of New York. Broadcast New York presents our statewide search for the very best in sports, music, dining, and entertainment. We're counting on you. All it takes is a postcard to win. Jot down your choice of the best thing about New York State, and we'll put your name in to win one of 2 great New York vacations. Our Buffalo Bills weekend includes tickets to the Bills, a tour of Niagara Falls, 2 nights at the Buffalo Hilton, champagne from Glenora Wineries, and a camera and film from Kodak. The grand prize, tickets to the world-famous Radio City Music Hall Christmas Show. 2 nights at the Omni Berkshire, tickets to the Geraldo Show and the New York Giants, then dinner for 2 at Windows on the World. So address your postcard to Broadcast New York, 78 Church Street, Saratoga Springs, New York, 12866. Be sure to cast your vote for the best of New York.
Well, all my friends drink. I mean, it's not like we get drunk or anything. I don't have the problem. You have the problem. No more drinking. Stop crying! I promise it's the last time. Get off my back!
You've tried everything. Nothing's worked. But there is hope. Get through to us at the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, and we'll help you get through to them. Just as we've helped thousands of others. Just don't give up.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Coming up, your calls about last week's program. But first, this week we introduced the New York Agenda. Over the past year, we've received hundreds of calls from viewers across the state. Your concerns about health, education, environment, and energy. So here's Mary Caroline Powers with this week's New York Agenda. Mary?
Thanks, Beth. Well, it's that time again, Election Day. This year, you'll be helping decide the fate of 3 statewide propositions. One of them involves the Job Development Authority. And just in case you haven't heard what the JDA actually does, this is what it all means, beyond the lever of the voting booth. The pressure's on, and Richard Whiteman has plenty of orders to get out on time.
Yes, New Cam will be on that one on Thursday.
Whiteman's company makes plastic parts in all shapes and sizes, including one for the Patriot missile. Kraft Tech Industries, based in Hudson, New York, is a small manufacturer, but it's getting bigger. David Alger is riding high. When he got hired by Kraft Tech last month, he called it a stroke of luck.
Lucky is an understatement, yes. I enjoy this job very much.
For months, Alger had been out of work, a desperate situation to be in for a man with 3 mouths to feed.
Joshua's the baby, Paul's the middle one, and William is the big one. And with them 3 boys, they take a lot of money because I like to feed them with what they can eat.
And in Hudson, a struggling industrial town of 8,000, job openings are scarce.
Put it over there in the corner for me, will you?
But even in a recession, Kraft-Tech has actually been hiring.
Before we had any JDA loans, we only had 8 people. Right now we have 30. With the new loan, we should increase up to around 50 over the next 3 to 4 years.
The help came in the form of 3 loans from the New York State Job Development Authority, but on one condition. The borrower must use the money to create new jobs. Today, the JDA wants to make more loans to businesses like Kraft-Tech, but it has to get permission from New Yorkers first. On Election Day, you'll be asked to vote on Proposal 1 to increase the agency's lending power.
We are not asking New Yorkers to spend any of their own monies, but just to give us the authority to sell more bonds that are guaranteed by the state.
By selling those bonds, the JDA raises money to loan to companies, a process that President Audrey Bino says has created or retained 150,000 jobs at no cost to the taxpayers.
The JDA, in effect, becomes our partner in a deal, takes a certain part of the risk, that as a bank we might not be able to take.
Bankers like Northstar's John Robinson are also pushing for Proposal 1. In today's economy, banks say they can't afford to lend money to young companies without a strong track record. But because JDA loans are backed by the state, it's safer for a bank to join in as a lender, beefing up loans even more. Back at Kraft-Tech, Richard Whiteman says his local bank only agreed to loan him money after the JDA signed on first.
If we hadn't got the JDA loans, we probably wouldn't have been able to expand the operation anywhere near this capacity.
David Alger doesn't much care how Kraft-Tech got the money to hire him. He's just glad to have a job.
And when I was unemployed, I had nothing much coming in for him. But now I have me this job that I'm very happy about having. Now I can give them what they want to have.
With 600,000 New Yorkers out of work, the state says Proposal 1 is a potential solution. On Tuesday, New Yorkers will decide if this is the right way to create more jobs and to put more people like Dave Alger back to work. In the past, New Yorkers have twice approved an increase in the JDA's bonding capacity limit, enabling the JDA to guarantee more loans. We'll see what voters think of this bond act in just a couple of days. Beth?
Thanks, Mary. And now on our audience access line. Last week's lead story on illegal snagging on the Salmon River brought in hundreds of angry phone calls. 40% of you think snagging is cruel and say New York is right to ban it. But 60% believe there's nothing wrong with snagging and say the ban spells disaster for towns that make millions from it. Here's a sample.
There's nothing sportsmanlike about yanking a weighted treble hook into the belly of some tiring, dying fish. Yeah, they'll die anyways, and so will these snaggers someday. How would they like to be beaten, mutilated on their way out?
These fish are going to die anyhow. I mean, half the time when they come up and get snagged, they're black with cancer or white with cancer, the big hunks out of them. These fish are 90% dead. What harm does it if somebody can catch one and take home to eat what's good on it?
I think it's absurd that our legislature is wasting its energy on issues such as snagging. I definitely think that fishermen have the right to snag fish that are going to die anyway in the Pulaski River.
I don't think that snagging is an appropriate tactic for fishermen. There's nothing sportsmanlike about it.
We'd like to hear what you think about today's program, so give us a call.
Melts at 600-700 degrees temperature.
Bright lights, big city. Find out how one man is changing the landscape when Broadcast New York returns.
From Niagara Falls to Radio City Music Hall, you be the judge. Vote for and win the best of New York. Broadcast New York presents our statewide search for the very best in sports, music, dining, and entertainment. We're counting on you. All it takes is a postcard to win. Jot down your choice of the best thing about New York State, and we'll put your name in to win one of 2 great New York vacations. Our Buffalo Bills weekend includes tickets to the Bills, a tour of Niagara Falls, 2 nights at the Buffalo Hilton, champagne from Glenora Wineries, and a camera and film from Kodak. The grand prize, tickets to the world-famous Radio City Music Hall Christmas Show. 2 nights at the Omni Berkshire, tickets to the Geraldo Show and the New York Giants, then dinner for 2 at Windows on the World. So address your postcard to Broadcast New York, 78 Church Street, Saratoga Springs, New York, 12866. Be sure to cast your vote for the best of New York.
Coming up, if your doctor has AIDS, do you have the right to know? But first, we've had a love affair with neon ever since the first tube was hung at New York City's Cosmopolitan Theater back in July 1923. In Troy, New York, Ed Vigeant's been plugging into that neon nostalgia since 1947.
They remind us of Broadway, movie marquees, the 1940s, icons of an era long gone.
It's changed its name from neon signs to neon art. And it's having a great comeback.
44 years ago, Ed Vigeant began a bright career in neon.
Back in the old days, it used to be for lighting, before all the new types of light, interior and exterior lighting came out.
Vigeant started the Troy Sign Company to capitalize on the newfound demand for neon signs. In 1989, he passed on the torch and ownership of the business to his sons, but the science of creating neon art hasn't changed.
During this stage, we have to keep the glass blower in mind because he's got the toughest job. These marks denote the end of the tube. The sky's the limit on it. The only limit is your imagination. You can, instead of it can be done in a line form, it can be done in lit glass.
When the finished paste-up moves downstairs, Ed Sr. concocts the proper gases, manipulating the glass into the desired shape.
Glass itself is a lead glass, and it's very soft. It melts at 600-700 degrees temperature, and it's more or less of a technique. And after a couple of years, there's no problem in forming it the way you want it to form it. It takes a couple of years of practice. You should start off at a young age, 17, 18, 19 years old. It's you've got your best nerves then, and you know, you're able to take all the mistakes instead of throwing an almost finished piece that you made a mistake and throwing it in the corner and saying, ah, the heck with it.
Bending glass into beautiful designs. It's big business for the Vigeant family, but the bottom line isn't the only thing they're interested in. They have their own case of neon nostalgia.
The glass is exactly the same. The method of building the neon tube itself hasn't changed since it was thought of. So that's still done exactly the way. There's no quick way of doing it. There's no computerized way of doing it. Mm-hmm. It's a real art to be able to bend the glass.
The neon signs start in the $200 range and go up into the thousands. Ed Vigeant's customers come from 5 states, and his signs light up the skies as far away as Greenland and India.
Would you go to a doctor if you knew he had AIDS? I'll tell you what I would do coming up.
And now on today's comment. There's a debate raging in New York over whether doctors with AIDS should be forced by law to tell their patients. You probably have strong opinions on the subject, and as usual, so does Michael O'Reilly.
I watched Kimberly Bagalas on TV the other week. She's the young girl from Florida who's dying of AIDS. And do you know how she got it? From her dentist. That's right, a trusted healthcare professional. What a joke that's getting to be. Last April, a New Jersey judge ruled that a surgeon infected with the AIDS virus must inform his patients before operating on them. But not New York State. Oh no, our health department wouldn't do that. They're too busy covering their butts in the name of being politically correct. That's right, they're worrying about confidentiality for people with AIDS. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting lawyers or teachers should have to inform their clients or students they have the virus. But for God's sake, I don't want any doctor, even with iron gloves, poking around inside my body if he's got AIDS. As a patient, I think I have the right to know, don't you? Now, some of you will call in and tell me I'm being an alarmist. Well, the state health department is playing a deadly game of chance with our lives, and we should let them know it's time they wake up. Otherwise, the blood will be on their hands. I'm Michael O'Reilly. That's my opinion. What's yours?
If you'd like to respond to Michael O'Reilly, call our audience access line at 1-800-766-NYTV. Now here's a look at next week's edition of Broadcast New York.
I'm not hiring at this time, but I'd be happy to look at your resume.
No, we're not really hiring. Do you have a resume you can leave with me, though?
Unemployment's hitting hard, and it's hitting the people who least expect it. New Yorkers are angry and demanding to know, why are we in this mess, and what are New York's labor leaders doing about it? That's our lead story next week.
You had a rash over here, and it's all better, right?
Then, Dr. Joe Kramer spells one thing for New York's alphabet city: help. It's the last place most doctors would want to hang a shingle, but not for this MD. That's all the time we have for today's program. We'll see you same time, same place next week for Broadcast New York, the voice of the Empire State.
The Lawrence Group family of insurance companies is committed to you, your communities, and the preservation of your future. We're here to help.
Guests of Broadcast New York stay at the Omni Berkshire, 21 East 52nd Street, the best location in New York City.